What were the dogs at that time? What were the kind of the popular breeds people would have? Was it
mainly German Shepherds.
Still German Shepherds, yes. Right?
I mean, this was 1986, 1985.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, this was the time when the first Malinois showed up, maybe 3-4 years later.
Right.
I think.
You know what's interesting? How was because obviously at that time I was on the other side of the Berlin Wall, so all I knew was the East German Shepherds and some of the Russian, which they call them the I can't even think of the name. Some like Northeast Shepherd dog or something.
Mm-hmm.
But how, like when the countries was split at that time and you were already training, so there was like, what did you know about the dogs in East Germany, for example?
Very little.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a little bit disappointed thing for us, you know, because when the border opened, so many German Shepherd owners said, oh, now we have, you know, this super
choices.
East bloodline German Shepherds.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, I think the most of them disappointed in sport. So when I mean, I'm still not the German Shepherd guy anymore, but I'm still good in bloodlines.
Yeah.
And I don't think there is, maybe there's one famous Lord Gleisterek. This is this line who still, you can still find now in actual working dog lines, but I think the most disappeared. The dogs were just a little bit different. You know. So
but
they were
probably, was it only the type of dogs, or was it also, I mean, the training must be different too. I remember because I started with totally like East European style of military training, you know, and then when I moved to Belgium, I started to get a little bit of the feel of, and I'm sure at that time everywhere training started to get better and better, but still you were way more tradition and way more advanced compared to East Germany.
Actually, I really don't know much about the former East German dog training tradition. I know some handlers. I know handlers, they escaped before, you know, and and there were some good dog trainers, and I know trainers now who already trained in this time now. I don't think there is so much difference. It was a different system, but
yeah,
maybe the population was too close for this breed in the east part. Like what my breed I have now a giant Schnauzer. I mean, they came out of this DDR East German bloodlines on, you know. So my breeder from my dog from Hatzbachtal is a very famous giant Schnauzer breeder. He told me a little bit about how he started again. The Schnauzer in the West German part were totally down. They were just show dogs at the end. And he started to kind of smuggle dogs out of the East German part, breeding dogs. And this is how he started his worldwide famous Schnauzer breeding program. And I think we earned a lot with the Schnauzers, and for sure in the first years we earned a lot with the Airedale Terriers, because there were Airedale Terrier. There were a lot of them on the big competition you saw, and they were really strong and nasty dogs. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think with the German Shepherds we had no profit of them. You know, it's like they are almost.
Very interesting this, because on the other side, like looking back from Eastern Europe, we would always be like, wow, the West type of shepherd. And the moment it opened, the borders, I think everybody, like, I wish they kept some of the lines, just because it's I mean, not keep them isolated, but make some breedings, but still maintain some type. And I think they, like East Germans, just totally went and completely took the West, and because it was the cool thing to do. And maybe they were the better dogs. I really don't know at that
maybe it
moment.
was just a big desire, you know. Like, I mean, it's not a joke. They had this car, this Trabant, and now they can buy a Mercedes or BMW.
Yes.
Maybe this was the problem, that they say, okay, now I have the chance to buy what I want.
Right. But yeah, that's what happened. What about the Rottweilers? I mean, they were at least I know when I went to Belgium and then very early on in the States, there were some good Rottweilers, not. Yeah, I mean, there's some exceptions, right, always, but there was a community that was into working Rottweilers, and somehow that also.
So what I see from my point of view, you know, it's like I was in Rottweilers, not personal, but with my friend and my helper. He was a good breeder of good Rottweilers, and at this time, but this is now 15 years back, 10 years back, at least more. But I think what they do now in Germany or maybe in whole Europe, they almost follow for me the way of the German Shepherds, because the Rottweiler I remember, but I was never very deep in. You know, there were litters. There was one champion of show and one champion of work in the same litter. You know, not champion, but you know,
of course.
And so, like my friend, he had this Rottweiler kennel, and he had his starting female was more out of what I think out of the working type, small female, but she produced at least 2 or 3 Clubsieger winners. So, you know, this is the highest show level for the Rottweilers. And on the other side, in the litters always were some very good dogs you can use for sport. So the same litter, both types was possible. And now what I think, I'm not sure if it's right, I think they switch and separate a little bit more. You know, the one type just for the show exhibition, they do their trials. And there are some kennels in Germany, I know, they do a lot of advertisement for their working Rottweilers, but they don't, for me, they don't even look like a Rottweiler anymore, you know. They are a little bit smaller, for sure they have good speed and all that, but they are not the breed what I know. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think they separate this, you know, in these 2 lines year by year. Maybe that's a problem for the breed, for me, for the working dog or police dog breed at all, that the separation of things, you know.